what they couldn't eat, they stuffed in their pockets and down the front of their shirt. And they wrote this really bad word on the back of Naomi Waddell's favorite journal, so now she can't take it to the YMCA pet show. Her mom won't let her. What was the word? Oh! And they wrote it in fluorescent paint, so when you can't even see the journal, you can still see the work. And they put a whole bunch of tadpoles in the school drinking fountain, and Miss Barnes swallowed 2 or 3. I'm sick. Someone yelled, "Mildred, stop! You're drinking tadpoles!" But it was too late. Did she get sick? Not right away.
That's not a very Christian sentiment, it seems to me.
Well, it's a very practical sentiment. Charlie was black and blue all last year because he had to sit next to Leroy Herdman at school.
Is he the worst one, Leroy?
They're all the worst one.
Ralph's the biggest, so Ralph gets you.
That doesn't make any difference. Gladys isn't big, but she's mean, and she's fast, and she bites.
I'm sorry I asked. Just stay away from all of them.
That's what I said. Stay away from them. Go to church.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Why?
No arguments about the Christmas pageant this year.
I don't want to be a shepherd again.
Then tell Mrs. Armstrong you want to be a wise man.
I don't want to be in it.
Everybody's in it. Think how I'd feel sitting there on Christmas Eve if my own children weren't in the pageant. Think how your father would feel. You'd feel terrible, wouldn't you, Bob?
Well, actually I didn't plan to go. You know how crowded it always is. They can use my seat. I'll just stay home, put on my bathrobe, relax. There's never anything different about the Christmas pageant.
There's going to be something different this year.
What?
Charlie's going to be wearing your bathrobe.
You just thought that up, Grace.
Why don't you be Joseph? Elmer Hopkins will pay you $1 to be Joseph. Elmer's sick of being Joseph all the time. Just because his father's the minister. Nobody wants to be Joseph. Nobody wants to be any.
So what are you going to be this year?
I'm always in the angel choir.
Well, why can't Charlie be in the angel choir?
Because I can't sing.
Oh. Well, from what I've heard in the past, that's not a serious drawback. Away in the manger always sounds to me like a closet full of mice.
What do you wear in the angel choir? Bed sheets. Oh boy.
they're right, you know. She runs the pageant. She's in charge of the potluck supper. She's chairman of the bazaar. I believe Helen Armstrong would preach a sermon if anyone would let her.
Is that George Armstrong's wife?
Yes.
Well, maybe she'll try to manage the hospital, because that's where she is. I saw George at the drugstore, and he told me his wife broke her leg this morning. She'll be in traction for 2 weeks and laid up till the 1st of the year.
The 1st of the year? Well, they'll have to cancel Christmas.
She's in charge of Christmas.
Well, she's in charge of the pageant. She's in charge of the bazaar. I feel sorry for Helen, but who's going to do all those things?
Yes, Edna, I can take over the bazaar if you'll do the potluck dinner. But I wonder what in the world we're going to do about the pageant. Unless, how about Grace?
Edna, I just can't. I have company all Christmas week. How about Grace?
How about Grace? Hello, Grace.
Bob,
What?
I have to direct the Christmas pageant.
Does that mean I have to go?
Our Christmas pageant isn't what you call horse-show entertainment. Mrs. Armstrong breaking her leg was the only unexpected thing that ever happened to it. So it is the same old Christmas story, the same old carols, and the same old Mary and Joseph. That's what my mother was stuck with. That and Mrs. Armstrong.
I'm sorry, Grace, but I tell you again, I can't explain how important it is to give everyone a chance. Here's what I do. I always start with Mary, and I tell them we must choose our Mary very carefully because after all, she was the mother of Jesus. And then I tell them about Joseph.
I know that, Helen.
Yes. Well, I tell them about Joseph and how he was chosen by God to be Jesus' father. That's how I explain that.
I thought Mrs. Armstrong was in traction. How could you talk to the corner she's in traction? What do you think traction is? Like when they put you to sleep?
No such luck. Beth, we need salt and pepper.
And I tell them there are no small parts, only small actors. Oh, and remind the angel choir not to stare at the audience, not to wear.
You will leave some for the rest of us, won't you, Charlie?
And
I'm hungry.
Shoes or
These are still my lunch again.
How can you let them do that to you day after day?
How can I stop them?
Because
Where's the chicken?
Grace, where's the chicken?
It's still in the oven.
I'll get it.
Out on stage. Otherwise they get in each other's way if they bend their wings. Oh, I know what Mom could do that. And you can watch the shepherds too. Another thing about the angels. Tell them not to wear lipstick. They think just because they're on stage, they need to wear lipstick. And it just looks terrible. So I tell them that they are supposed to be little girls, not hussies. Oh, and there's so many
Someone's at
things
the
to
door,
tell you.
Helen. I have to go.
I can't even begin to think about everything.
Someone at the door, Helen. I'll talk to you
Let
later.
me see what else.
Yes, I'm coming.
And,
Ladies, can you give me some supper? I haven't had a square meal in 3 days.
For heaven's sakes, it's you.
I was very lonely at the table.
I guess Helen's feeling pretty lonely at the hospital.
Not as long as the telephones are working.
I'll bet you told about no small parts, only small actors. And getting someone to shove the baby angels on to make the shepherds shut up.
Yes, she suggested your father.
Does that mean I have to go?
and don't use just anybody's baby for Jesus. Get a quiet one. Oh, better get two. That way you could always switch them in case one gets fussy. And then, of course, I know Grace. Grace?
My mother didn't pay much attention to Mrs. Armstrong. She said Mrs. Armstrong was stuck in the hospital with nothing to do but think up problems. And I get all the dessert I want in Sunday school.
Oh yeah, what kind?
All kinds. Chocolate cake and candy bars and big wheels and Twinkies. We get all the refreshments all the time. All we want.
You liar.
And ice cream and donuts and cupcakes and
Who gives it to you?
the minister.
Why? Is he crazy?
No, I think he's rich.
Sunday school, huh?
That was the wrong thing to tell the Herdmans. And sure enough, the very next Sunday, here they were in Sunday school. Just in time to hear about the Christmas pageant.
Bev, Charlie, you and David come. Now this won't take long if we'll all get started. Today we're going to decide who will be playing the main roles in our Christmas pageant. Of course, everyone will have an important part to play. You know what Mrs. Armstrong always tells you. There are no small parts, only small actors. Isn't that what Mrs. Armstrong always tells you?
Yes. That's what she always says, but she never says what it means.
Don't you know what it means?
I know what it means. It means that the short kids have to be in the front row of the angel choir, or else nobody can see them.
Well, not exactly. What it really means is that the littlest baby angel is just as important as Mary.
I don't think anyone is as important as Mary. Well, naturally, that's what you think, Alex. I think Jesus is more important.
I think short kids have to be in the front row.
Girls, everyone is important. Mary, Jesus, and the short kids. Now, is everyone here? Beverly, will you just step out into the hall and see if anyone else is coming? Let's just set this right here. Now, you little children will be our angels, so you'll need to tell your parents that you'll need bed sheets. People in the angel choir will need bed sheets too. And if any of you have old bathrobes at home, what is the matter? Oh, well, let's make some room there for the Herdmans. Now, what happened to Beverly?
I think she got sick.
Did she say she was sick?
No, all I did was, I just said hi to her, and she just...
Oh, well, will someone please remind Beverly of our rehearsals the next 4 Wednesdays after school? Plan to be there for everyone. What if we get sick? You won't get sick. Of course, Mary and Joseph must absolutely come to every rehearsal. What if they get sick? They won't get sick either. Miss Beverly got sick, and we haven't even started yet. We don't know that Beverly got sick. Now, I want you all to think about Mary. We all know the kind of person that Mary was. She was quiet and gentle and kind, and the girl who plays that part should try to be that kind of a person. Now, who would like to volunteer for that part?
Me, over here.
Did you have a question, Imogene?
No, I want to be Mary. And Ralph, over here, he wants to be Joseph.
Yeah. Well, let's just make a list of all of the volunteers, and then we'll decide who it's going to be. Ralph Herdman. Okay, who else would like to volunteer? Elmer, did you raise your hand?
No.
Very well. Ralph Herdman will be our Joseph. Now, Imogene has volunteered to be Mary. Who else would like to be on my list for Mary? Janet?
No.
Roberta?
No.
Alice, don't you want to volunteer?
No, I don't want to. I'll be married! Shut up, Gladys. I'm already married. You be a wise man.
Oh, well, the wise men are usually boys. Of course, they don't have to be. And we could...
I'll be a wise man. Me too. Come on, you want to be a wise man? Raise your hand. What's a wise man? Just raise your hand. Okay.
There, we do have some volunteers after all. Hobie, would you like to be a wise man?
No, I just wanted to say I can't be a shepherd. We're going to Philadelphia.
Well, why didn't you say so before?
I just remembered. My mom doesn't want me to be a shepherd.
Why not?
I don't know. She just says don't be a shepherd. I'm not going to be a shepherd.
Oh, yes, you are. What's the matter with all of you?
I don't want to be a shepherd. Gladys Herdman hits too hard.
Why, Gladys isn't going to hit anybody. She's just going to be the angel of the Lord who brings the good news to the shepherds.
It hits them.
Now, Elmer, that's ridiculous, and I don't want to hear another word about it. No shepherds may quit or get sick. Now, that's all for today, boys and girls, and you can go but plan to be here Wednesday evening at 6:30 sharp. Alice, why didn't you raise your hand?
I don't know.
You don't know? Why, I expected you to...
Ouch! Cut it out! Cut it out!
I expected you to volunteer. Don't you want to be married?
Oh, come on, Alice. I don't know. I dare raise my hand. Imogene would kill me. She said, I'm going to be married in this play. And if you open your mouth or raise your hand, he'll wish you didn't. And I said, I'm always married in the Christmas pageant. And she said, go ahead then. And next spring, when the pussy willows come out, I'll stick a pussy willow bush so far down your ear that no one can reach it. And it'll sprout there and grow, and you'll spend the rest of your life with the pussy willow bush growing out of your ear. You know she wouldn't do that. She would too. Herdmans would do. And you just watch. They'll do something terrible and ruin the whole pageant. And it's all your mother's fault.
Jane, Emma McCartney, did you hear about... Well, it must be Grace's fault. Somehow, how else would the six of them end up in the Christmas pageant when they ought to be in jail?
Vera, Ernest Slocum, I just heard that Imogene Herdman is going to be married in the pageant. And is that a fact? All six of them? Vera, I live next door to that outfit, and I'd rather than live next door to a zoo. Has Grace gone crazy?
Where did they come from? Who let them in? Imogene Herdman? Oh, what kind of child is that to play the mother of Jesus? Where was Reverend Hopkins? I'd like to know. He was what? Visiting shut-ins? Well, I'm shut in and he wasn't visiting me. I said, why don't you let them have programs at the door? Grace says we don't have programs at the pageant. I said,
Better lock up the church, nail down the silver service, and hide the collection plates before they clean them out.
what was the matter with Grace? Couldn't she have sent them away? Who let them go? Oh, I feel so irresponsible. If only I'd been up and around, this never would have happened. Oh.
If I'd been up and around, this never would have happened. Well, let me tell you.
Don't tell me, I'm on your side. The car's over there.
Helen Armstrong isn't the only woman alive who can direct a Christmas pageant. I made up my mind just to do the best I could under the circumstances. But now I'm going to make this the best Christmas pageant we've ever had. And I don't care.
Good for you, Grace. The car's over there.
And you're going to help me.
Does that mean I have to
You
go?
have to go. Now the inn will be off stage over here, and the shepherds will come in and gather around it.
Where are the shepherds coming from anyway?
What's an inn?
It's like a motel. People go to spend the night. What, Jesus? Oh, honestly, Jesus wasn't even born yet. Mary and Joseph went there. Why? Pay their taxes. A motel. Shut up, Ollie. Everybody shut up. I want to hear her. Begin at the beginning.
The beginning?
The beginning of the play. What happens first?
Imogene, this is the Christmas story. From the Bible? Haven't you ever heard the Christmas story from the Bible? Well, that's what this pageant is all about. So I guess I'll read it to you.
I don't believe that. Do you? That they never heard the Christmas story? Why not? They don't even know what a Bible is. And they never go to church in their whole life. Your dumb brother or government graduate. Now we have to waste all this time for nothing.
All right now. There went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And Joseph went up from Galilee with Mary his wife, being great with child.
Pregnant! She was pregnant!
All right, we all know that Mary was pregnant. And it came to pass while they were there that the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son.
I don't think it's very nice to say Mary was pregnant. Well, she was! I don't think your mother should say Mary was pregnant. It's better to say great child. I'm not supposed to talk about people being pregnant, especially in church.
And wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
My God! They didn't have room for Jesus?
Well, nobody knew the baby was going to be Jesus.
Didn't Mary know? Didn't he know? What was wrong with this Joseph that he didn't tell us? Her pregnant and everything. What's a manger? Some kind of bed?
Well, they didn't have a bed in the barn, so they had to use whatever was there. Now, what would you do if you had a baby and no bed to put him in?
We put Gladys in a bureau drawer.
Oh, well, there you go. You didn't have a bed for Gladys, so you had to use something else.
We had a bed, only Ollie was still in it and he wouldn't get out. He didn't like Gladys. Murray didn't like Gladys? Yep. That was pretty smart of Ollie, not to like Gladys right off the bat.
Anyway, a manger is a large wooden feeding trough for animals.
What were the wadded up clothes?
The what?
It said, in there. They wrapped them up in wadded up clothes.
Swaddling clothes. People used to wrap up their babies in large pieces of material very tightly to make them feel cozy.
You mean they tied him up and put him in a feed box? Where was the child welfare?
Lord came upon them, and the glory...
Shazam!
What?
Out of the black night with horrible vengeance, the mighty marvel.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gladys.
The mighty marvel, an amazing comet. Out of the black night with horrible vengeance.
But this is the angel of the Lord who comes to the shepherds.
Out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
The black night, right?
Yes.
Well, in a way.
Shazam!
Now, when Jesus was born, there came wise men from the east, bearing gifts of gold and frankincense.
What's that?
And myrrh.
What's that?
They were special things, spices and precious oils.
Oil? What kind of a present is oil? We get better presents from the welfare.
Were they the welfare of the wise men?
No, they were kings, and they were sent.
Well, it's about time somebody important showed up. If they're kings, they can get the baby out of the barn and tell the innkeeper where to get off.
They were sent by Herod, who was, well, he was the main king, and he sent them to find baby Jesus and have him put to death.
My God! He just got born! They're gonna kill a baby?
Who's Herod this place?
Nobody's Herod in this play.
Now he killed a baby? He isn't even in the play? Well, somebody better be Herod. I know, let Charlie be Herod, and he says, "Go get me that baby!" And they say okay, because he's a king and all. Then they don't do it. They go back to Herod. I'm not going to be Herod. There's no Herod.
There's no Herod.
I know. Joseph gets his shepherds together, and they wipe out Herod. See? They're gonna put one in, and it's gonna be me, and I'll get killed. There's no Herod.
Forget about Herod.
And I run away with the baby till the fight's over.
Somebody ought to fix the innkeeper.
Gladys,
You wipe out the innkeeper.
King Angel? Well, I wouldn't just hang around out in the barn. I'd go get a room.
She said there wasn't any room.
Then I'd just throw something out. I tell him I got this baby and all, and it's the middle of winter. So either get out or move over.
I'd go after Herod.
I'd send the angel out there so she could just point her electric finger and turn him into a pile of ash. Yeah. What's the name of the place? She never said.
Christmas pageant.
That's no name. That's what it is. I know a name. I know a name. I call it Revenge at Bethlehem. Revenge at Bethlehem? The Herdmans thought the Christmas story came right out of the FBI files. At least they picked out the right villain. It was Herod they wanted to gang up on, and not the baby Jesus. But our baby Jesus quit the pageant anyway. It was supposed to be Eugene Slocum. But Mrs. Slocum said she wasn't going to let Imogen Herdman get her hands on him. So we didn't have a baby Jesus. And that bothered my mother. She kept trying to scratch up her baby, even at the last rehearsal. What do you keep writing that? It's a diary. It's nuts. It's all about the Herdmans. Imogen curses and swears all the time. Ralph talks about sexy things. Mrs. Bradley called Mary pregnant. Gladys Herdman drinks communion wine. Isn't wine? It's grape juice. I don't care what it is. She drinks it. I
supposed to be. Oh, Edna, didn't I hear that your niece just had a baby about a month or so ago? A little girl.
Yes, she's 5 weeks old.
Well, how do you suppose it would be if I were to call up your niece to see if we could borrow?
Grace, no. I could tell you a lie or something like that she's maybe sick or cranky, but the fact is she's happy and healthy and beautiful, and we all want her to stay that way. We're not about to hand her over to Imogene. Sorry, Grace.
Mrs. Bradley, you can have my little girl for Jesus.
Why, David, I didn't know you had a new baby.
He's not new. He's 4 years old, but he's still good. I think he's turned up.
Well, I don't think so.
I'll get us a baby.
Oh, how can you do that?
Oh, there's always 2 or 3 carriages outside the supermarket. I'll get one of them.
Imogene, you can't just run off with somebody else's baby. We'll just forget about the baby. We'll just have to use a doll.
Yeah, that's better anyway. A doll can't fight you.
Now, Imogene, you know that Mary doesn't wear earrings.
I have to wear these. I just got my ears pierced, and if I don't keep something in them, they'll grow together.
Well, they won't grow together in an hour and a half. What did your doctor tell you?
What doctor?
Well, who pierced your ears?
Gladys. She probably did it with an ice pick. I'll bet Imogene's ears turn black and fall off.
Well, we'll just have to find something smaller. Now, is that your costume? Is this what you're going to wear? You are all supposed to have your costumes on today.
I can't find my halo. My wings are all bent. Janet's got my robe. My mother doesn't have a white sheet. Can I wear a shoe with balloons on it? I don't have a costume. I was never a shepherd before. You have to wear your brother's bathrobe. That's what I have to do. He doesn't have a bathrobe. So what is he wearing around the house? His underwear.
All right. Just pretend that you're all wearing costumes.
Are we going to the whole thing?
Why, yes, of course. But first, we're going to just practice the entrances. So everybody get to where you're supposed to be, and we'll begin with the shepherd. Just read the last few lines, Maxine.
Shepherds keeping watch over their flocks by night.
Music! Shepherd!
An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and
Music!
Shazam!
No, Gladys!
Out of the black night!
No! Go on, Maxine.
A multitude of heavenly hosts.
Music! Angels! Music! Wise men!
I've got the baby here. Don't touch him. I named him Jesus.
No, no, no! Mary doesn't say anything. You don't say anything. Mary and Joseph just make a lovely picture for us to look at while we think about Christmas and all that it means. Now, put the doll back.
I don't get to say anything. Some angel tells me what to call the baby. I would have named him Bill. Oh, what a terrible thing to say.
Which angel was that? The same
Why didn't they let Mary name her own baby? What did the angel do? Just walk up and say, name him Jesus?
Yes.
I know what the angel said. She said, his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. My God! He'd never get out of the first grade if he had to write all that. Shut up, Alice! Alice, get to you! Mrs. Bradley, what should I do? Should I start all over?
5 minutes, Maxine. 5 minutes.
We never did start over, and we never did go through the whole thing. The 5 minutes turned into 15 minutes, and Imogen Herdman spent the whole time smoking cigars in the ladies' room. Then, Mrs. McCarthy went in there and saw all the smoke. She called the fire department, and they came right away. They cleared everybody out of the building and dragged fire hose through the church, looking for a fire. The only one they found was in the kitchen. All the applesauce cake burned up. Of course, all the ladies were mad about that. And Mrs. McCarthy was mad, and my mother was mad.
Why did you have to call the fire department over a little bit of smoke?
There was a lot of smoke. The room was full of thick smoke.
There couldn't have been. You just got excited. And now look! The streets are full of baby angels crying and shepherds climbing all over the fire truck, and the entire neighborhood is everywhere, and the firemen are all over this church.
Alice Weddlekin's mother was mad too. And the whole Ladies' Aid Society was mad. And Reverend Hopkins said he didn't know what to think.
I don't know what to think, Grace. I've been on the telephone all day, and I can't make heads or tails of it. Some people say they set fire to the kitchen. Some people say they set fire to the ladies' room. Vera Willikin says all they do is talk about sex and underwear.
That was Hobie Clark talking about underwear.
Well,
And the only fire in this entire building was in the kitchen where all the applesauce cake was burning up.
well, I don't know. Jesus said, some of the little children can come unto me, but I'm not sure he meant the Herdmans. Grace, don't you think we should cancel the pageant?
I'll bet that was Helen Armstrong's idea.
We could blame it on the fire. Makes a good excuse.
I'll bet that was Edna McCarthy's idea.
Everyone seems to think it's going to be...
A disaster? Well, it's not. It's going to be the best Christmas pageant we've ever had.
But Grace, I don't think anyone will come to see it.
I didn't think so either. Neither did Charlie. But we were wrong. On Christmas Eve, the church was jam-full. Everybody came to see what the Herdmans would do.
Watch your step. Or wait till I get the lights.
I can't even see where I'm going. I don't know what in the world you expect to do with this thing.
I thought it might look like a palm tree. I can see now that it doesn't. Oh, I don't know what in the world is going to happen tonight. The Herdmans still think this is some kind of a spy story. You know, we've never even gone through the whole thing, not even once. This might be the only pageant in history where Joseph gets into a fight with the wise men and Mary runs off with the baby. Where are our kids?
the world are downstairs in the basement putting on bed sheets.
I mean our kids.
We're here.
Well, get down to the basement and get your costumes on. It's getting late.
It's just to be awful, you know? They look like trick-or-treaters. All dirty and fat together, carrying safety pins and wearing their moldy old sneakers. Mary and Joseph, I mean. They look like refugees or something.
Well, that's what they were, Mary and Joseph. They were refugees in a way. They were a long way from home. They didn't have any place to stay. They didn't know anybody. They were probably cold, tired, hungry, and messy.
I don't know about cold and hungry, but they sure are messy.
Oh, dear, do you think I should?
I think you worry too much. Now, I'm going to push baby angels on stage. Then I'm going to hand out shepherd's crooks and push them on stage. Oh, when am I going to do all this?
Just follow this script.
Let's see. Baby angels, shepherds, wise men. Huh. You know, it doesn't seem to say here where the fire engines come.
Oh!
Just kidding.
Is everyone here? Beth, I want you and Alice here to help with the baby angels. Now, I just want to see what you all look like. Gladys, where's your halo?
Our cat buried it. Listen, I thought I ought to say something other than just a baby. Why would we get up and tear out after some baby we don't even know? I ought to tell him it's Jesus, and I ought to tell him where he is.
No, no. You just say, unto you a child is born, and that's all you say. Now, let's all get backstage and let's try to be quiet. And good luck.
This is Bradley. Actors don't say good luck. Actors say break the leg.
Well, I didn't think under this costume. Stop! For those of you who don't know, that's just a theatrical saying. It doesn't mean actually break a leg, your own, or anybody else's. And Imogene, try to remember that this is a baby. And for tonight anyway, it's baby Jesus.
with Mary, his wife, who was great with child. And while they were there, brought forth her firstborn son, wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And in that region there were shepherds in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And suddenly a multitude of heavenly hosts sang, "Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth among men."
know, but I like that. She had lots of spirit. Sometimes you can't even hear the angel of the Lord. I must find Grace and tell her.
I just wish now that I had let Grace have Eugene to be the baby Jesus.
Well, who was the baby Jesus?
Why, it was a doll.
Oh, I don't think so, Irma. That was no doll.
Well, it did seem real.
It did seem real, as if it might have happened just that way. We all thought the Christmas pageant was about Jesus, but that was only part of it. It was about a new baby and his mother and father who were in a whole lot of trouble. No money, no place to go, no doctor, nobody they knew. And then, arriving from the east, like my uncle from New Jersey, some rich friends. Because of the Herdmans, it was a whole new story. Imogene birthing the baby, and the wise men bringing such a sensible present. After all, you couldn't eat frankincense. And even Gladys goes in, he's at the bottom. So the wise men didn't have to stumble all over the countryside looking for him. But I guess it wasn't like that for Imogene. For Imogene, it turned out to be all wonder and mystery, like she just caught on to what Christmas was all about. After it was over, we had a party in the basement. The Herdmans didn't have any cocoa, and they didn't walk off all the cookies. And they wouldn't even take their candy canes.
Well, I guess that's about it. Any kids left downstairs?
No, everyone's gone. You know you're wearing your bathrobe. You're not going to wear it home, are you?
Why not? Maybe people will think I was in the Christmas pageant. I wouldn't mind being taken for this Christmas pageant.
Yes, you would. Some lady came up and hugged me just because of that shepherd. Should I bring this ham?
Oh, it's the Herdman's ham from the welfare basket. Leroy wouldn't take it back. He said you don't take back a present.
Leroy said that? He must hate ham. You and Alice Wendlekin.
What about the lights?
They're on a timer. They'll go off at midnight.
Well, that's not far away. Hey, it's almost Christmas.
It's almost Christmas, kids.
Almost Christmas, Charlie. And it came to pass in the days of, and there were shepherds abiding,
A multitude praising God.
I bring you good tidings of great joy. named Herdmans.